Hello, my beautiful patrons. How are you? It's Monday. Best day of the week. Best day of the week. I just finished editing my video for Facebook. It's got 3 minutes left to render, and then I can upload it to Facebook with the special announcement. Special announcement. I'm super excited about it. Yeah, so today I have word of the day, and then I have a little story to tell you, okay? So, word of the day is this, okay? It is nascent. Nascent means something which is new, which is just being born. Yeah, like this is from the Latin root, to be born. So you could say that I have a nascent idea, like a new idea. It's just being born, it's being created. Or you could say it's a nascent restaurant. It's a good word because it's not too uncommon, but it's a little bit posh. Just to change your writing, instead of saying new, you can say nascent sometimes. Because you don't want to be too posh. Okay, so the story I want to tell you is this. So I am writing a class at the moment about how to think in English. because I remember when I was learning Spanish, my teacher said to me, don't translate, think in Spanish. And I was like, shit, how do I do that? It just, I didn't know, it was like an order, but you're like, okay, how? What does that mean? Is this possible? And so at the moment I am deep in my research phase. Woo! I spent the whole weekend reading academic papers about neuropsychology and psycholinguistics and philosophy, and it's been quite interesting. I've discovered a lot of things, a lot of interesting things, and I don't want to give you any spoilers, but thinking in English, not translating in your head, let's just say that it might not be the best advice in the world. Okay, but part of my research, and this is, I don't think this is going to be in my final video because I don't think it fits, okay, but there's a story of a guy. He's a Mexican guy. His name is Ildefonso. Now, he was born in a very, very poor village in Mexico, and his parents had no access to education. They had no idea how to educate Ildefonso. He was basically just sort of lived in the village. Now the thing is, he is deaf, totally deaf. He was born deaf. So for all of his life, he had no idea that communication, okay, as far as language, he had no idea it existed. He didn't know there was words and sounds, and he didn't know sign language because his parents didn't teach him. He didn't go to school. And so he's a very rare example of a human being who has no language, who had no language, okay? And the effect that it had on him was quite profound, quite spectacular. So one day he met a researcher, and she decided to use him as a focus for a study because she wanted to know, how can you live without language? How can you think? How can you think if you don't have language? All right, for example. And this is part of the story. I want to read this part of the story. Okay, so basically, she was trying for months and months. She tried to teach him sign language. Okay, but he didn't understand language at all. It's a strange concept. So she would sign. She would say, okay, like I love you, and he would repeat. He didn't understand the idea of communication. He would just copy her. And then one day, okay, I'm going to read this one day. So she's doing sign language, right? She's doing sign language, and then suddenly he gets it. He understands language in this one moment. Okay, so listen to this. What happened is I saw a movement. I stopped. Out of my peripheral vision, I saw something move. I looked at Ildefonso, and he had become rigid. He sat up in his chair and became rigid. His hands were flat on the table and his eyes were wide. His facial expression was different from any I'd seen. It was wide with amazement. And then it started. It was the most emotional moment with another human being in my life. So much so that even now, after all of these years, I'm choking up, like getting emotional. He started pointing to everything in the room. And this is amazing to me. I've thought about this for years. It's not having language that separates us from other animals, because we love it. All of a sudden, this 27-year-old man, who of course had seen a wall and seen a door and seen a window before, he started pointing to everything. Pointed to a table. He wanted me to do the sign language for table. He wanted the symbol. He wanted the name for table. And then he wanted the symbol for window. The amazing thing is that the look on his face was as if he had never seen a window before. The window became a different thing with a symbol attached to it. But it's not just a symbol, it's a shared symbol. He can now say window to someone else tomorrow who he hasn't even met, and they will know what a window is. There's something magical that happens between humans and symbols and the sharing of symbols. I mean, wow, right? Wow. It blew my mind reading that. To think that communication really is just about being able to share. And that's why every day I'm like, communicate. Which is probably very boring now to a lot of people. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that story, and I hope that you use the word of the day to generate some nascent ideas. I'll see you tomorrow.